I've been struggling a little bit with actually coming on the podcast every week. It's a part of life. I don't know many people personally who also host a podcast, but like other things in life, I imagine it's like this, right? Up and down, up and down. And that there come times when you kind of you fall out of love with something for a little while and you have to re-find your rhythm. Welcome to the Productive Introvert Community Podcast, helping ambitious introverts who feel deep down that they can add more value to the world to really thrive in their work. I'm Mariela Franker, and I'll be sharing what I'm learning as an introverted entrepreneur, a natural productivity coach, and a mom while I build my business online and take care of my family and myself. In this podcast, you'll learn the mindset and the practical steps to naturally increase the impact of your work while making space for your unique strengths as an introvert. Hi, it's Mariela. So today I thought I would just talk a bit about what's been going on lately. I am in my living room today. I've been sitting here quite a lot lately. Usually, like, my favorite place to work is my little office cabin. And I've worked there even in freezing temperatures. I did an episode about that once. The main reason is because it's my space, it's that great space where everything's set up for me to kind of be in productive flow. And the moment I enter that space, it puts me in a relaxed but focused state, basically. Whereas in the house, I'm kind of distracting myself all the time. Like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm just going to open the fridge, see what's in there. I do notice that I do more focused work when I'm actually in the cabin. Lately, there's a lot of movement everywhere in my business, but also at home, preparing for our son to go to school in about a month's time. And my partner has also taken a part-time job outside of the house. He's also an entrepreneur, so usually he would work in the house and I would work in my cabin. Now that he's not in the house, I noticed that I kind of hang around more. But I've been noticing that I kind of want to give myself that space to kind of chill inside. Yeah, well, the lighting's terrible. I don't do lighting yet. I don't know what I'm doing on this podcast, guys. I have no idea. Anyway, that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today. I've been struggling a little bit with actually coming on the podcast every week. It's a part of life. I don't know many people personally who also host a podcast, but like other things in life, I imagine it's like this, right? Up and down, up and down. And that there come times when you kind of you fall out of love with something for a little while and you have to re-find your rhythm. And other things that are going on in your life, they also influence that. For me right now, as you know, I'm changing the focus of my business towards habits for introverts and restructuring things in the back end, and at the front end, creating different types of content, testing that out. Not everything is going well. My email list, for example, is grown, but basically it shrinks just as fast as it grows, which just shows that you're starting to speak to a slightly different person. So people who have maybe been on my list for quite a long time, they joined when I was talking about different things, and this new direction doesn't resonate with them. And that's okay, In the beginning, that was really tough for me. I felt really, really bad every time someone unsubscribed from my list because I felt like I was failing them. Which, of course, when I say it out loud, sounds a little bit ridiculous, but that's how I feel. I still have to accept that I'm not able to help everyone. And this really is a learning process for me and something that I feel that I'm growing into because I was that person for a long time. I am that person. I want to help everyone. And so many of my clients are the same. And I love them for that. I really do. It's a beautiful, beautiful quality. Everywhere they go, they try to make people feel at ease. They try to help people. Sometimes even people who don't really appreciate that effort that they put into that. And we talk about this a lot in the coaching program. It's like, it's tough. And I feel the same way, because what I've noticed is that when you can really pour into something, when you can really pour into certain people, and that is reflected back to you, it expands, and that energy kind of ripples out and touches more people, and it becomes a beautiful, beautiful thing. Whereas with other people, you pour into them and it just disappears. It's like this bottomless pit almost, that your energy is poured into and you don't get very much back. And this is not because that's a bad person or that person doesn't care. It's just sometimes it's not a match. And I am, just like you, learning to, first of all, make that distinction, be aware of that. And I'm also a sensitive person, so it's quite important the way that I manage my energy. It's very important that I stay on top of that. Otherwise, I deplete myself very, very quickly. And I've been there in the past. And I vowed not to go there again. So being aware of that and making that distinction, am I getting that sense of fulfillment when I do this thing? And then kind of accepting that does not happen for everything, and that does not happen with everyone. And as tough as that is, sometimes I recently spoke to someone. She's going through a tough time. And I wish that I could help her. I really, really wish that I could. But I know that in this moment in time, the help that I can give her is not the type of help that she needs. She needs something else. So being honest about that, and then saying, hey, I don't think that I can help you. I'm here for you, if and when you need me. But, in terms of coaching, that is not something that I can offer you right now that would really help you move forward. So please go on and look into maybe this or that. So that is something that I'm struggling with, especially in this stage of my business, as I'm getting more inquiries from people. I'm getting more requests for calls, people asking me for help, sometimes in situations where I think, yes, the system that I use could be super, super helpful, but it may not be the right moment for me to help that person in that situation. So as I'm going through that and being a sensitive person, that takes a lot of energy, right? Thinking that through and kind of going through that internal struggle, so to speak. So a side effect that I'm noticing is that I'm finding it difficult to show up every week for the podcast the past couple of weeks. I think part of it is because, of course, as I'm evolving, the podcast will as well. Right now, this is still a solo podcast, so I'm just monologuing all over the place. And probably that's still going to continue for a while. Because as I mentioned, I'm selfishly using the podcast as a place for myself to reflect and kind of refine my ideas. But yeah, so I've been struggling to show up every week. And this morning I had a thought. I think what shows up as a block for me is because I'm transitioning into a new phase, and as an introvert, I like to have all my thoughts arranged in my head before I actually talk about them. And because I'm still internally processing, I'm finding it difficult to explain what's happening, right? I don't have the words yet. And one of my mentors said, it's okay to keep that separate. It's okay to not talk specifically about things when you're still internally processing. And at the same time, you can still take people along on your journey. So that was really nice to hear that from someone who's also a couple of years down the line from where I am right now, and her experience around that. And she also has a podcast that she brings out episodes every week for. So it's really great to have that reflected, that it's okay. So even though I'm still internally processing a lot of this stuff, I thought I would share this part with you, that yes, it does become hard to show up from time to time. It's always an up and down process. Even if you love what you do, even if you love the channels that you're using, like I love doing the podcast. It's from everything that I've done in terms of visibility. It's my favorite so far. And around this, I had a thought this morning. Basically, I always want to give value, right? That thing of I want to help everyone. So whenever I come on and I do a podcast episode, I feel I need to give you a lesson. I need to give you, And like I said, beautiful quality. Same things I see reflected in my clients. Every beautiful quality, every strong quality can also become a pitfall. And in my case, it can send me off in like a negative spiral, that whatever I'm putting out is not valuable enough. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that or felt that in the things that you do, getting stuck on that idea of, oh, it's not valuable enough. The thought that I had this morning was, don't underestimate the value of showing up. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to show you today, because I was not feeling it this morning. I have been putting off recording this episode for probably way too long. And I know this sounds like a minimal effort kind of thing, but I want to say it's okay. We don't have to be like at 1,000% all the time. I really do believe it's about understanding your rhythm in things. And for me, in this stage of internal processing and working through some blocks myself and creating something new, I need a lot of time to just be by myself and to be quiet. I'm also not going on any social activities very much at all. I'm basically saying no to a lot of invites as well, because I know I need this time, whatever time I have left, I need to just sit and be. So I hope that me showing up for you today, that can kind of reflect that for you and yourself, even if you are going through something completely different in your life right now. And it is tough to get up in the morning. It is tough to just do the minimal stuff to just survive that day. You're there, okay? And you are showing up the best way that you can. And there is value in that as well. So thank you for hanging out with me today, and let's talk again next week. Thank you for listening to the Productive Introvert Community Podcast. If you're an introverted entrepreneur and you're ready to thrive in your own way, then connect with me on thefrankermessage.com/contact.